All right, peace, peace. Lee back in the building for another Q&A. Let me get some nines in the chat if you hear me. Give me some nines in the chat if you can hear me and see me well. What up, Davina, Travana, Licia, Brandy, April, Lauren. Okay, appreciate that. I don't need any more nines, y'all. We good, we good. All right, so let's get right into it. I don't have that much time today. I got some things I must attend to, but it's been about 2 months since my last Q&A, so I've been having people request it, so I'm back live and we'll answer your questions. Remember to put question before your question or whatever, and I'll do my best not to skip anybody. I'll apologize, from the jump if I miss anybody or whatever. Also, make sure to go to my website, my main website, slemyers.com. That's where you can find out all the things I have going on. Also, our online metaphysical shop, l9shop.com. And like I put in the chat right now, for the rest of this month, you can get a free hemp incense by discount code HEM, HEM. You only have to purchase anything, you just got to pay shipping. So just something we do to give back every month. Also, lastly, if you want to work with me in a group setting, make sure to go to spiritualaccelerator.com. We actually just had a mastermind Q&A yesterday, a webcast, which was beautiful. Shout out to Danielle. We really built on some personal things. I didn't even record it. But if you're interested in working with me, group setting, affordable price, spiritualaccelerator.com. All right, so let's get into the questions, y'all. Appreciate everybody for coming through. So let's get into some questions. Put question and get it in. Okay, I just see a bunch of greetings and stuff like that so far. Let's get some questions, y'all. If you never did a live cast with me before, I ain't really into too much besides questions. Just maximize our time together. And I might have to turn some of these lights off. It's hot. Question: How can I get custody of my daughter back? That's very personal. With me not knowing you, person, whatever. Just hold on a second. Okay, yeah, I'm picking up something very personal. I wouldn't even look setting. I would ask the question. I'll put the question like this, and this isn't for everybody. This is specifically for you. And you don't have to answer in the chat. You don't have to answer me. It's not for you to answer me. But what I was told to ask yourself is, do you really want your child back? Do you really want your child back? Because it's typical for you to be like, yeah, I want my child. No mother or father wants to be without their child. But there's something inside you that of having that child. So simply put, ask yourself, do you really want that child? If the answer is yes, then you want to do the first thing that comes to mind in order to get the child back. I'm picking up sort of what it's going through, but like I said, that's a very personal thing. I don't feel comfortable talking about that like in a public. Yo, what up, Big John? Okay. Why can't I see my own future or read for myself? You can read for yourself. I know when I was studying the tarot, that was one of the first things I heard was you're not supposed to pull tarot cards on yourself. That's where I learned to read the tarots, by doing spreads on myself. So if you were to ask me what you are asking me, I would say you can read yourself. Now, as far as the future, thing with reading yourself, usually we have a bias, meaning that if something, say a card comes up and it's quote unquote a negative situation, we'll kind of dismiss it or be like, oh, that's not going to happen or something like that. But usually we have a bias when we're reading ourselves. Same when you do your numerology chart, people try to highlight the positive aspects of the numbers. Same with astrology, people try to um, um, put more emphasis on the positive things on their chart. From my experience, the things that were harder or wasn't my gift, those were the things that I needed to work on. What I mean by that, let me be very open right now. One of the things I learned about myself when I came into knowledge of self was I had a tendency to really give it to people with the mouth. I had a very dirty mouth as far as giving it to people. Somebody give me a little bit, I'm gonna come at them hard body. You feel me? So I had to learn to control my temper and control the words that are coming out my mouth. Now, fast forward to the day, as little as probably about a week and a half ago, I had some dude. It seemed like it's this where every time I see him, he always wants to argue, get into a debate because that's his energy. And the old Ali probably would have, took the bait and everything. But long story short, he wasn't able to get under my skin. Therefore, I didn't have to go at him, what I mean, like I did in the past. So when you're reading yourself, that's why I notice is people use our bias. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh man, that's not really me, or I don't see the need for that or whatever. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing that. Question, I lost my job, which hurts, but at the same time, not really because he was verbally abusive. I want to know, how can I find a job that aligns with my success? Um, just something real quick you could do is look at your gift number in numerology. That's the day you were born on. So if you were born on the 20th, then your gift number be 20. Also, if you know about anything about numerology, reduce it down to a single digit. So that 20 would be a 2. So you look up number 2. If your gift number is 4, look up gift number 4. But find your gift number and just read information related to your gift number. That is that's kind of like the number that's going to lead you to different opportunities, because it's a gift. It's something you naturally do and you can easily share with other people. When you share with other people, 9 times out of 10, you can make money from it. So I would look at the gift number just as a quick advice. When worshiping deities, are you worshiping the energy or the deity? I wouldn't even use the word worship. Worship has a very subservient and begging connotation to it. In fact, I made a video called "Worshiping Deities" with a question mark. I do believe, may want to check that out. But you're basically connecting with the energy. Remember, there's no being per se, quote unquote, that looks like Tahuti, that takes that physical. That's how he looks all the time. It's just energy. And what the ancients did was they personified it and made the energy into a picture, because that's the way we communicate. We use pictures, we use symbols. In order to use language, you have to draw a picture. It's hard to be like the energy of love and picture that, but you can picture a heart, or you can picture the goddess Oshun. That's a better equivalent of love. So you're not really, quote unquote, worshiping deities, to use your words. You're connecting with the energy. That's why, like Tahuti, the energy of Tahuti, which is the energy of wisdom, the energy of medicine, the energy of astrology, etc., that is the same energy as Quetzalcoatl, Mesoamerican deity. That's also the same energy of Hermes, which is in the Greek and Roman pantheon. So the different names, the way they look, have changed, but the energy remains the same. How do you feel about pre-made altar kits? I have no feeling about that. If it's something that resonates with you, you'll hear me say that a lot. If it resonates with you, go be it. And I would say that if it's even considered something bad, if it resonates with you, go do it. Even if it's bad, because you might have to go through that in order to get to something positive or whatever. So with that, like if your move and your spirit's like get the kit, then I would get the kit. Me personally, I'd rather piece it together myself. Compare soul and spirit. I did that before. Spirit gives birth to the soul. If you look at it, the spirit is a part of you that never leaves the side of the creator, never leaves the creator's side. But the soul is birthed from the spirit, and the soul is what comes to earth and incarnates into different vessels. So your soul can incarnate into an extraterrestrial. Your soul can incarnate into a being on a different planet. But your soul is multifaceted. So there's part of your soul that's here on earth as a human, but trust me, there's part of your soul that's in other parts of reality. Sometimes you see a glimpse of that in your dreams. But simply put, spirit gives birth to the soul. Spirit stays with the creator. The soul takes form in different bodies. Um, Cleanse and clear crystals with sage. That's the simplest and easiest way. You can also use water. Some crystals they say you don't need to clear. I would clear them anyway, probably. Here's the money. Is that a money tree behind you? My leaves are dying as little. I have it on my money altar. No, it's not a money tree. It's a bonsai, and I have not taken care of it. It's kind of embarrassing. It's in the background. I need to do better with that. That's one of the things. I've never been a cat with a ill green thumb. So plants and flowers never been my big thing. But yeah, it's a bonsai tree. Cop from Walmart too, believe it or not. Any new books? I was actually working on Alter Magic Manual this morning. So yes, that book's coming next. I had a tentative date of July or whatever. Obviously, I missed that. So I'm not gonna put any more dates, but I'm shooting for early November. Put it like this: when I make it available for pre-order, it's a wrap. Just like I did now on purpose. When I made it for pre-order, it was ready when I said it was. What do you must have for your first altar? Look up my video on how to build an ancestor altar. Um, get a picture or something to represent the ancestors. Get a bowl of water, get a candle, and give an offering. You don't need that much stuff, yo. Okay, Lanisha, you didn't ask a question, but I made a video talking about if you're doing your ancestor altar, quote unquote, right. But if you're starting now, give it a month or two, and don't expect money per se or blessings. Just expect like some sort of synchronicity. You might have a dream with an ancestor. That's one of my confirmation. I had a dream of ancestors, whatever. You may have a long lost relative that you haven't seen in 20 years. You go to Walmart and you see your great aunt that you ain't seen in 20 years. That could be a sign that the ancestors have received your offer and are communicating with you. So if you're just starting out, just give it some time, yo. My bad, yo. Question: how do we get away from trickster spirits with starting an ancestor altar? If you're worried about trickster spirits, usually those are like deities. But if you're worried about trickster spirits in your family, like just make sure you address who it's for. For instance, if you had like an aunt that you didn't get along with, that you feel spiritually she still is in a bad place or whatever, for whatever reason, personally, I don't subscribe to this. I don't believe in ostracizing ancestors or eliminating them from offerings. But based on the question, I'm answering your question. Based on how you put it. So when you give your offering, just address who it's for. So, like I said, if you had an aunt that you wasn't really meshing with well, then don't include her and just include the ancestor you specifically wanted to deal with. If it's a deity altar that you're referring to, then make sure that you put deities that don't have any kind of manipulation, kind of trickster to them. So these would be more your safer deities like Lakshmi, Ganesha, Oshun, Tahuti, etc. What are your must-haves for your first altar? I just talked about that. Questions: how do I find out my spiritual gifts and enhance them? Um, Now if you're an accelerator member, I got a spiritual gift module. I also made a YouTube video about how to find your spiritual gift, or the three main spiritual gifts, which are teaching and counseling. Teaching, healing, and counseling. So if just by hearing that, you may know, like, hey, yo, I'm a teacher. So your spiritual gift is teaching. So now you have to learn what you want to teach. You have to learn your teaching style, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I got modules in the accelerator for that. But there's a YouTube video I made, and yeah, but and also just think about if you're a counselor or healer. As far as developing them, it's like anything else. You have to study and you have to apply the information which you're studying. Good question. Best question so far. My question: when you are going through injustice, should you seek justice or sit back and let the universe handle? That's a very excellent question. In fact, man, I might want to do a YouTube on that. That's an excellent question. Um, Based on you asking that, I'm assuming that you're going through some sort of injustice. The thing with that is you have to realize if you're being quote unquote punished for something that you did, every what they say, you reap what you sow, and every cause has an effect. So if you're going, and but in fact, I'm not even gonna go that route because you're saying injustice, meaning that you were done unfairly. Now, if you're done unjust, then you have to go. The way I look at it is just because you didn't do something in this lifetime doesn't mean you didn't do something in another lifetime. It becomes kind of wishy-washy because you don't know for sure, but that's what helps me keep peace. When I know I'm going through some things that maybe I didn't quote unquote cause consciously, I know that there's a balancing act in the universe, and I wouldn't be going through something if I wasn't supposed to go through it. So the way I deal with injustice is personal, on a personal level. I'm not talking about national, like police killing black people or babies getting molested. I'm not personal level. The way I deal with it is I don't. I just go through it. If you follow me for enough, you know I'm not big in a good or bad. I'm not good in a left or right, black and white. I'm not good in a separatism. I'm not big into what's right for this person is wrong for this person. I'm big on just being neutral and just being. So when you take that mentality, quote unquote, injustices are just like blessings. It's hard for most humans to see blessings as the same as curses, as good as bad. But trust me, that's the way I live my life. So I'm not gonna put that on everybody to like they're not there yet. I get it. But when you're dealing with it, just look and see what's the root cause and see if you're going through it in vain. A lot of times when you find out why you're going through something, you're not going through it in vain. So look at it like that and then look at what lessons can be learned from it. So that's kind of a lot, but hopefully it makes sense out of that. But that's probably the main thing is like, what lessons can I learn from this injustice? Usually, when you learn lessons, you don't have to repeat it. Hey, yo, Tracy Ford, as far as resumes, check out my brother, Chris Enlighten, theenlightenedjourney.com. He actually has a resume service where he does some spiritual things, a high success rate to get people a job. Um, other than that, I would, if you have an altar, I would do what's called petitioning the gods and or ancestors, and that's where you go to the altar after giving a nice offering, and you put in a request or a petition, and you can say something like, you know, I come before you, deities, I come before you, the ancestors. I'm putting in a petition to receive employment. According to my karma, please open up something in the universe for me to receive a job and give thanks or whatever. So I would either go to The Enlightened Journey, look at the resume services, or go to your altar and put in a special petition. Question: do I do any business guidance? I want to transfer from corporate to self-employed to express my spirituality and study more esoteric arts. That's one of the that's one of my personal missions with my program, the Accelerator, is to have people that already have demonstrated a level of spiritual mastery to really step out and explore entrepreneurship. So that's kind of like where I like to work with people like in a group setting. Other than that, I work with people one on one as far as business mentoring. Also, I have a workshop that I don't even want to put it out there all the way because I want to get a lot of questions. But I've done it before, spiritual business starter workshop. It's been on my spirit hard body to do that again. If you're on my email list, you'll hear about it. If you're on my Facebook, you'll hear about it. Other than that, I have videos talking about spiritual business. So I don't know exactly what part you're struggling with because business is multifaceted. I don't know if it's the marketing aspect. I don't know if it's being comfortable, setting prices. being legal. You know, I don't know where you're at, but that should give you a little bit to work with. One advice I do have, and I recommend this to everyone: start small. Even if you're at the job working for Uncle Mr. Charlie right now on your 9 to 5, start small on your side business. Even if it's spiritual or mundane, just start small. So I've told this story many times. I retired from driving a semi truck. I still have a CDL, and I was making deliveries to local restaurants, mainly in Cincinnati, La Rosa's. And when I was doing that job, I was still making videos. I was still writing. I wrote my first book, Deity Linkage Manual. I was still working at the job, but I was working on my side spiritual business. And the same time, I was working on driving a truck. So that's the level of dedication you have to have. You have to start doing something on the side, and you have to do it consistently because the business is not going to be ran overnight. It's not going to open overnight. So you have to do consistent work every day, or at least on a regular. Then eventually what will happen is you'll have clients, you'll have people start to break bread with you, or you have people come that you're able to help themselves. And then you start to get income. Then eventually that income on the side will be comparable or close to comparable what you're making on your mundane job. When I noticed when I started making close to what I was making having a CDL, it was time to go, man. Do I know about the coke? And no, never heard of it. Yo, shout out to everybody. We about 140 something deep in here. Remember to hit the like button. This is the only time I recommend or ask y'all to hit the like button is on a live or whatever. So make sure to hit the like button if you appreciate the information. Question: how do I know if my ancestors are satisfied with my altar? You'll know spirit, man. You'll know in your heart. If you're doing your altar work and you feel at peace, more than likely your ancestors are at peace. If you're doing your altar work, but you're constantly thinking, man, I should be doing this, or I should add this, or I'm not giving enough offerings, then more than likely you're not. You have to listen to your heart. But like I said, give it some time. You know what I mean? Like if excuse me, if I'm courting a young lady, dating a young lady, I'm not going to ask her to marry me or be committed to me after one day of going out or going on a date with her. You know what I mean? You got to build a relationship. You got to court. You got to do things or whatever and prove that you're worthy, they're worthy, and it's a mutual relationship that everybody can benefit from. So, like, I would just wait a couple months, but you'll know in your heart. I don't know what that means, Deonta. Remember to put questions. It's a lot of comments and stuff, man. I'm trying to get through it. Makes it harder, yo. All right, question. What are some tips or tricks to get my kiddos more involved in spiritual practices? My daughter 14 and my son 17 are more interested in things like different rituals, tarot, etc. What are some tips or tricks? If they already have an interest, start to participate with them. You can make it like a day, like do it on Thursday. Tell them that Thursday is related to Jupiter. Jupiter deals with expansion of blessings. So when you do something on Thursday, that's going to make the joint pop more. You know what I mean? Just tell them something like that and be like, every Thursday we're going to do this. You just start incorporating them. Start incorporating them. I shared, I think on the last broadcast, my daughter, I only got one daughter or whatever. She was like maybe about 3, 4 years old, something like that at the time. And when I offerings, she was wanted to be there. So instead of being like, "Oh no, baby girl, you can't sit here," I just let her sit there with me. You know what I mean? She didn't do anything. She just sat there, and I told her just be quiet. Then eventually, she wanted to snuff out the candle. She asked, "Could I do this or whatever?" So just incorporate them, just involve them. The thing about children, and you have to know your children. Some children, if you recommend something, they're going to resist and they're going to rebel, very rebellious. That's the type of kid I was. So you have to know your child, but if your children are already interested, then set a date, start doing things with them on a regular basis. Yo, what up, Moon Goddess? Okay, I'm still looking. Questions. What is the benefits of the I think you're talking about Usnisa Vijaya Dorani and Anabacoa prayers. Big salute from France. Then, oh yeah, peace. Bonjour, comment tapo tu? Ça va? I took French, but I just know phrases. Learning divine prayers is probably one of the most beneficial things you can do. Because when you learn a divine prayer and it's not in English, and that's the key, it's not in English, it's going to encode your soul. It sticks to your soul. So when you learn a prayer, you're learning something that's going to cultivate your soul. And until you learn it, it's hard to explain what you're going to feel. Just put it like this. When I first started learning the Anabacoic, I promise you, you know what I mean? For anybody know, no, I don't sell wolf tickets. I don't just talk to be talking. The first time sat to learn it, some alien or extraterrestrial science going out of the area we lived in or whatever. What do you call it? The suburbs. All these sirens and stuff like that. And it wasn't no ambulance, it wasn't no police. It was a siren that I never heard before. Soon, when I started reciting the Anabacoa, it started wanting to put it to memory. Those sirens started going off. It lasted for, I want to say, about 5 minutes. At the time, the phone I had, I recorded the sirens. Looked outside, wasn't nobody outside, wasn't nobody looking. But my point is, and this is just my own experience based on my own path, what I noticed with me personally, and other people may be able to identify with it, is whenever I started to pursue something new or come into a level of overstanding on a particular subject, I had the craziest synchronicities and supernatural experience that are out of this world. That if you didn't know me, you wouldn't believe it. So that was one of them. In prayer, I had a supernatural experience that I never experienced before or after that. So I said all that to say, once you learn this prayer, you're going to experience something. I can't tell you what you're going to experience. I can't tell you how it's going to change in your life, but what I can tell you, it's going to change something. If you want to learn that prayer, sallyMyers.com and Google miracle prayer. In fact, you probably just Google my name with miracle prayer or Anabacoic, and you'll find an article I wrote showing Dr. Gibson's rendition and where you can cop the actual him speaking it, which I recommend. A rendition from Thomas Shalar, shout out to the God. He sings a song of the Anabacoic. It also has the translation, and then it has the words. So it's a very good memory tool if you want to memorize that miracle prayer. Okay. Question. Oh man, I forgot about doing my readings, yo. I've been wanting to do live readings, particularly like numerology, something people can put their math in and I can read. That'd be ill. I forgot all about that. Solar Return, 2004, 2014. You're not even 30 years old yet, so you definitely haven't had. You actually have the same birthday as my cousin. And you have the similar numbers as mine. My birthday is January 4. You take the 0 out of your October, we basically have the same birthday as far as numerically. So basically, we have the same attitude number and the same gift number. What advice do you have as we enter? Ask the question again and give me an area, and I'll give you something. When you buy items for your altar, should you cleanse it before using it on the altar to get rid of the energy that could be on it? That's a good practice to do. That's a good practice to do. Other than ancestor altars, what is another way to open up communication with the ancestors? Look at my video on spirit communication, how to communicate with spirits. Essentially, you want to do you do it in a dream. Dreams are the easiest way to communicate with spirits, especially if you're not highly intuitive or you're not a medium. Look at the dreams or whatever. Like I said, I made a video how to communicate with spirits. Golly, Caesar. What up, Caesar? My brother. Um, see, you're an Accelerator member. I ain't even put it on upcoming, but I'm gonna do a module on dream decoding because it is. I can't just make a quick video on, so I'm gonna do a module. The way I do that is the stuff I can't just make a video, even if it's 15 minutes. It's gonna take me longer to explain. I'll just make a module and put it in the Accelerator. So you being a member, you'll be able to get that. But to decode dreams, you have to learn the language of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind speaks to you in symbols, in symbols. So a symbol is going to mean something. Quick example is like a symbol of the Baphomet. That's a good one. The symbol of a Baphomet, it can be taken many different ways. When I see the Baphomet, I see enlightening, I see balance, I see spirituality, I see the occult, I see neutrality, I see I said enlightenment, I see ascension. So I see that's why I see when I see the Baphomet. Someone else can see the symbol of Baphomet, and based on its association, they can be like, "Oh, that's evil," or "That's the devil." So using that example, if when I see Baphomet in a dream, my interpretation is going to be different than someone who sees it and say like the devil's coming to get me or whatever. So you notice that most of your dreams are symbols. So you have to see, what does a symbol mean? Another thing I recommend is you want to see what's going on in your life. So if you're having a dream, let me give an example. If you're having a dream where the symbolism and the emotion surround, that's another key thing, is emotion. The symbol and the emotion around it deals with fear. Maybe you're running away from a dog that's scaring you, and you're fearful, and you hide out, and you're in a fetal position, hiding from this dog in total fear. That's what you're that. Now go to your waking life. Where are you being fearful at in your waking life? And you'll maybe it be like going to work. You're fearful of losing your job. So what they showed you was that fear is going to eventually cause some sort of physical disruption, mental disruption, spiritual disruption, etc. So that's kind of in a nutshell how you want to do the dreams. See what the symbolism means, see what the overwhelming emotion is, then see how it applies to your everyday life. Also, I made a YouTube video how to decode dreams as well. I made that video when I was in Vegas, actually. I got a Bears jersey on in that video. Oh, my bad, Caesar. You put some more stuff in there. I recently had a dream about lobster yesterday. I Googled dreams on lobster and I was told a lot. Okay, that's why I don't really deal with dream dictionaries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Once again, you do whatever you're guided to do. But me personally, I've never had a dream and went to Google and looked at the what they're ever. Like I said, if you develop your own symbol dictionary, you know what lobster. What does lobster mean to you? Like for me personally, if I see lobster, I'm gonna think of red lobster. So it may relate to food or entertainment, you know what I mean, or eating shrimp or something like that. So what does lobster mean to you? Does it mean clamping on to something? Does it mean going to the water? Does it mean, going back to your homeland, being around water? Do you miss that? You have to find out what that symbol means to you. Because lobster, it has many different definitions. You have to find out how it defines from your standpoint. Okay, yo, I'm gonna do probably about five. Uh, Energy, such as getting more strength, confidence. Can this be done with light deities? What would you consider dark deities? I don't consider deities as dark and light, so I'm not the one. You have to rephrase that, but I don't. To be honest, I really don't even follow that. Dark deities, light deities. Question: what can I do to increase dreaming? For one thing, we all dream. I think most people know that, but people say I don't dream. That's a misnomer. You have approximately 4 to 6 dreams every night, predominantly during what they call rapid eye movement or REM sleep. So everyone has dreams. What can you do to increase dream recall? One of the herbs I like to recommend is Brilliant Dreams. It's actually a supplement. Some herbs I recommend, and you can cop these from L9 Shop or your local wherever you get herbs from. It's three. Kalia Zakatachichi. I'll spell it Calea. And somebody type it in too. Kalia Zakatachichi. Calea. Zacatechichi. Kalia Zakatachichi. Mugwort. Mugwort. And Gotu Cola. Gotukola, which Gotu Cola is good for memories or good for memories, improving your memorization. So I would take those herbs, I would smoke it. If you don't like smoking it, I would make a tea. I would take it right before I went to sleep. Also, you can keep a high vibrating crystal under your pillow. I always recommend Motivite. Cop that at L9 Shop, or lapis lazuli, or amethyst, one of the higher vibrating crystals. But those are a few tips to help you recall your dreams. Obviously, refrain from eating as close to when you go to bed. Try not to eat, 5 hours before you go to bed. 6 p.m., 5 p.m., stop eating or something like that. Go to bed on an empty stomach. Drink lots of water. The science behind that is you drink a lot of water, you have to wake up and pee. When you wake up and have to pee, you're gonna have a dream on the tip of your tongue. So those are a few different techniques, things you can do. Hey, what up, Jazz? Definitely make sure jazzthemedium.com. Visit her. Book your sessions. She's a medium. She's ill. Oh, love you too, musical goddess. Appreciate that. And it's where I'm saying I only really looking for things that say question. All right, well, I need a question. And I probably should start reading questions before I read them on air, but I just read them. When a star appears in front of you in your home, could it be my star family? What do you think? If that's what came to mind, that's probably what it is. So it doesn't matter what I think. If that's what came to your mind. Listen, y'all. You ask me a question and you tell me what you think. I'm always going to go by what you think, regardless of what I think. I may add a little bit, but you're asking questions and you're telling me. So, but you're dealing with things that you may not be able to prove right away. So what I would do is write it in a dream journal, write it in a book of shadows, write it in something so you remember, hey, yo, I remember the star coming to me. And you may think you won't forget that, but I promise you, my first, I want to say 2 years when I woke up, I was journaling every day. When I went back and read those journals, I didn't even remember some of the things, like some of the things I forgot about or whatever. And I was like, at the time, I didn't think I'd ever forget about it. So I would write it down. And the way it works is usually you'll be shown something else. It may be tomorrow, it may be next year, it may be 5 years, but it will connect to that star and you'll be able to connect the dots. That's the reason I articulate answers the way I do is I want you to get into a position where you take self accountability for your spirituality. No, not to throw shots or shade at anyone. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. But what I notice is the people that call themselves teachers, spiritual leaders, etc., from in my humble opinion, they have a tendency to have people rely on them and depend on them. I take the complete utter approach. If I come on here and I don't have any questions, that means people are growing and they don't have any questions. So I look at that as a good thing. So my point is, start to take self accountability. I don't want to lecture you all to death, but hopefully that resonates with somebody. Can you burn a check for? You can burn whatever you want for your ancestors. Once again, I only share things that work for me. When I early on my path, I was burning Jones paper every stinking, and I reap benefits from it based on my ancestors being taken care of. And I know this for sure based on the experiences that I had and based on the communications I had with them. So I'm only sharing what worked for me. Me personally, I never burn checks. But if it's in your spirit to burn checks, burn checks. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions about how to know if the altar's working. Go to my YouTube page and go to the altar playlist. All right. Question. All right, hold on, man. All right, I just don't want to miss anybody, yo. But like I said, if you don't put question, I don't feel bad for missing you. Because it's a lot of activity, yo. Oh man, my bad. I missed all kinds of questions, yo. I promise it ain't gonna be another month and a half before my next one. Cause obviously I'm not gonna be able to get through all this, man. Somebody saying they sent me a message. I'm sorry, you sent me a message. You sent me an email, Facebook. Like, yeah, I can't promise I'm gonna get back to you in a timely manner. Only people I'm committed to on a daily basis and multiple times in my accelerator members. I don't have enough time in a day to sit on Gmail, to sit on Facebook, sit on YouTube, just answer questions. I apologize. Early on, I had time to do that. But now, because of my popularity, whatever that means, a lot of people hit me up. I ain't gonna say I don't have time. I'm not willing to invest hours a day just answering questions. That's why I do these YouTube lives. Yes, I am a Capricorn in Western astrology. If anybody know me, no, I don't even deal with Western astrology. I deal with straight Jyotish or Vedic astrology. Sorry if I miss people, man. I ain't going back. I'm just going to next one I see. Question. My grandmother told me that I have a veil covering my face. What does that mean? Oh, for your information, she has passed. I can't speak for her, but probably when someone has a veil, it means a separation. So she may have meant that you're not viewing reality the way it is, or you have barriers. You have barriers from what you want to have and what you see and where you currently are. Usually it deals with a barrier. All right. All right, question. Okay, if you're working with ancestors that you call on, how to get rid of ancestry you call on if your interaction with each other do not go well? That goes with what I was saying earlier. Just address who you want the offering for. Excuse me. Smoker herb question. You tripping, bro? That's fine. Once again, do you? You don't have to do it. When I got the panic pack, I got a corn cob pipe and I smoked it. That's not for you. Make it tea. It's one thing about me, yo. I don't care what anybody thinks, what anybody say, how anybody else views another person. I do me, and I share what works for me. Simple as that. But the thing is, there's many ways of doing these things. That's why, in my opinion, people are confused because how to study numerology. There's many ways. How to do an altar. There's many ways. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I only share what worked for me or what I feel worked for me. And because I've been doing this thing now, the things I recommended, other people have done and gave me feedback on what their experiences were. So you know what I mean? That's how I come up with material to share with people. So at any point, something don't resonate with you, just throw it out the window. It ain't a big deal. All right, let me see. Sorry, mumbling. And I promise too, I'll go back and read everything too. I usually do. But a lot of people, do say, positive thing. I don't want to act like I don't read it or nothing like that. I will go back and read it. But like right now during this live, I'm just looking for questions. So I will go back and read all the comments, but it just makes it hard, yo. How do you become Accelerator member? Spiritualaccelerator.com. Peace King, protect your energy while doing spiritual work. Any key advice you can provide operating from the highest vibrations the flow. I recommend, once again, a lot of people disagree with this because it costs money. But I recommend getting a protected spiritual tool. At l9shop.com, we have, I guess this is the first time I'm announcing it, probably within a week, we're going to have protective talismans or whatever. So go there. If you're on the L9 shop email list, you'll be notified. We also have protection enchantments. I would get a spiritual tool. As far as a medallion, I highly recommend from Tybro, TYBRO.com, the Angels of Sanctification medallion. So a medallion, an enchantment at l9shop.com. We also have talismans coming out. You can create your own talisman. You can look up crystals that deal with protection, so protective crystals. We also have a protection crystal set. So you want to get a tool. I actually as well, I would pray. And when I say pray, I'm talking about a divine prayer. So the Anabacoa, the Unisa Vijaya, just learn that divine prayer and chanting that a few times before you do your spiritual work. Also, a mantra may help you. But at the end of the day, personally, and once again, based on what I've done, I would get a spiritual tool. Yes, you can have temporary alter space. I'm going to make a video because I'm getting that question a lot. So one of shout out to my boy King, man, from Indianapolis. That's why I recommended to him. I told him to get a shoebox, put a candle, put some water in it, write his names of the ancestors on a piece of paper, put an offering in there, leave it up for a couple hours, take the offering out, close the bookshelf or close the shoebox up and put it back in its place or whatever. That's a quick temporary altar so you can break it down, pull it up, and hide it. All right, 11:53. All right, let me do a couple more. All right, question. All year, Oya has popped up online and at some stores. I recently purchased her info card and put her card on my altar. What do you think Oya is trying to tell me? Look at what Oya represents, and to use your words, that's probably what she's trying to tell you. Whatever she represents. Main thing deal with Oya is changes. So if you're going through changes, or you've been thinking about, or you need to change something, then I would be safe. I'll put money on it. That's probably the message that you're supposed to receive. You can get whatever you want to, whatever ancestor you like. Questions. You have two twin flames. I don't get that. Can you have two twin flames? Oh man, you get into a topic that I really don't talk about. I personally don't take the traditional view on relationships, marriage, sexuality, all that stuff. I think especially in the West, we have made a lot of things taboo. We have a lot as far as a counselor, I've worked with females that have an abundant amount of sexual, not worked personally, but worked in a professional way, counseling, mentoring with I gotta be very clear nowadays, but with females who had like an abundance amount of sexual energy who may have had a job as a prostitute or a call girl, whatever you want to call it. My point is, without getting into a long tangent, because we could spend some time here. I don't have a traditional view of relationships. I personally believe you can have multiple partners if that's in your cards. I don't believe most people are suited for that. I believe if you're gay, you can be gay. I believe if you're abstinent or don't believe in sex, you can abstain from sex. I believe you can do whatever the hell you want to do. I personally believe have many what's the other word? Not twin flames. What's the other word? It's, the names eluding me. Not twin flames, but partners. What they call it? Soulmates. I personally believe you can have multiple soulmates. I personally believe that your soulmates do not have to be of the opposite sex. I do believe that your soulmates don't have to be someone you have sex with. A soulmate could be a friend, or it could be a coworker. It could be a soul that you relate to or whatever that you're cool with. As far as twin flames, I take a little bit of different approach. I personally believe, and this is just my belief, that you have someone, usually it's like one person that for whatever reason y'all just have a bond that goes beyond other people. Once again, don't have to be sexual though. Your twin flame could be a friend, in my opinion. So can you have more than twin flame? I probably wouldn't say that. I would say more. You can have more than one soulmate. But if you Feel like you can, then so be it. Question: can you put deity on your own spiritual altar outside of the altar that you have designated for the deity? Can you put deity on your own spiritual? If I get the question, you can put the deity statue wherever you want to. Yeah, I really don't get that question all the way. My apologies. Questions: I've been in several situations where I ask someone something in my head and someone I'm around will answer. How does this happen? How does this happen related to metaphysics? We're all connected. Carl Jung, Jung, he called it the collective unconscious, but we're all connected on a quantum level, on a subtle level. The way you know this is you can think about someone and they call you, or your phone can go off and you think about a person. You look at the phone and that's the person that you were thinking about. It's I mean, I've had many experiences similar to what you're talking about, and what it is someone's picking up on the signal or picking up on what you're putting out. It can either be subconscious; it don't have to be them consciously picking it up, but they can pick it up and then they can output something to you. I got a download of what's called an ether space model, and it goes like that. I need to make a video on this as well. It's actually something I haven't spoken about in a long time. But I taught it at the second Soul Glow spiritual retreat. I gave a lecture on the ether space model. But people talk about I get these downloads. I get downloads. Oh man, spirit has downloaded something to me. In order to get a download, you have to upload something. The fact of the matter is, throughout life, we're constantly uploading things to the universe and we're constantly downloading things. It's like a computer and downloading. So you having a thought, a conscious thought is like an upload. You getting some feedback from the universe, someone saying something or responding, that could be considered a download. All right. All right, let me take one more. All right. All right. All right. Question. My father, hey, Giovanna. I know you from Facebook. I do believe. Question: my father and his father caused a lot of grief with the family. I currently do not honor my paternal side. Is this fair? I personally wouldn't. I mean, let me rephrase that. I would honor my paternal side. The analogy I like to use is this: if you had a cousin that goes to jail, you and that cousin didn't get along whatsoever. He might have slept with your wife, he might have, stole from you, whatever. Y'all didn't get along, but he goes to jail, and you're the only one putting money on his books. You're the only one going to visit him. You're the only one making calls to see how he's doing. More than likely, he ain't gonna have no attitude with you. He gonna be cool with you. Look at the afterlife as jail, but it really ain't. This is more like jail. But look at the afterlife as jail. And if you're sending ancestor money, you're sending offerings, you're sending them ashes, you're sending libations, you're sending all these things positive to them, more than likely they're gonna be cool with you. You know what I mean? Like I personally, I've only had one person in all my years of doing altar, maybe two, that had a negative experience that I recommended something to them and then it subsided. But they really had their. I had a consult with this person, so I was able to get really into their energy. And what they were doing was they weren't honoring line to the fullest extent. I believe they were European. I believe they were European, and most of their bloodline was European, but they more identified with like Native American and melanated cultures, and their ancestors were kind of pissed about it, for real, for real. So I recommended her do something. She did it, and the things that were happening subsided. The ancestors were breaking windows and glass at this lady's crib. So if you ain't dealing with something like that, like you probably ain't dealing with nothing. All right, so that's it, man. That's all the time I have. Remember L9shop.com, the number 9shop.com. Use discount code HEM to get your free incense stick. That's good for the rest of the month. If you want to work with me in a group setting under my guidance, spiritualaccelerator.com. That's where you can find out all the information via my flagship program. And my main website, silemyers.com, got articles, more free information for you in addition So I tried my best to cover all bases, and I think we do a decent job with it. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Definitely, y'all showed out hard bodies. So I appreciate everybody. Remember to thumbs up it, and until next time, peace.